Welcome to Business Prowess with Rafael and Dr. Andrea. Our show will bring you the best insights, ideas, and inspiration from successful entrepreneurs and CEOs in the business world. Don't miss out on the opportunity to learn from the best and stay ahead of the game. Sifu Rafael is the founder of 5 unique shows. He's a fitness professional, solutions expert, executive coach, and head instructor at Max Martial Arts and Fitness in New York. Dr. Andrea Adams-Miller is an award-winning international keynote speaker, best-selling author, and CEO of the Red Carpet Connection Publicity, Publishing, and Talent Agency, and CEO of IgniteYourRelationship.com. Known as the Dream Maker, she makes visionaries' dreams come true, bigger than they ever dared to desire.
Dr. Andrea, good morning. Happy Friday. How are you today?
Well, I'm wonderful. Of course, I'm in LA today, and
Nice.
as I travel from hotel to hotel, I never know how the internet's going to go, and it seems good on one point, and then 2 minutes later, I'm cut out. So I'll either be here or not be here. We'll see how it goes.
Well, I love the presence wherever you are, and you always show up and always beautiful and always ready to bring great information and
Well,
content.
thank you.
But
I appreciate that.
I love the next guest that we have on. He is just an incredible human being. I don't know how anybody's busier than me, but I think this guy is. Right? So let's go ahead and bring David. David, how are you, my friend? How's everything going?
Good, sir. No pressure being busier than you, please. Nobody's busier than you.
It's a wonderful idea. When the topic that we're going to be talking about is mastering success in life. Oof, that's a big one. I think for anybody, just to even master their morning, even.
I'll let you know when mine's done how I did.
Love it, love it. When you consider, and I want to just highlight your book for a second, because what an incredible book you've written. I'm getting into the pages of it. I started with page 1, which is the best place to always start. Swords of Illumination. And tell us, before we even get into it, you have so many things going on with that. Tell us a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Sure. So we just signed with the publisher yesterday to be able to continue with book 2. So the book 1, book 2 really encapsulates our coaching system when it comes to, there's 3 aspects when you hire as a coach. There's the peak performance psychology programming side. Then there's the design work, where we actually help you develop your business model and your processes and your structure that supports your company. And then there's the finance side, which then brings everything together to see how well it's performing. So we have 3 different coaches you actually work with in this pod system. So that pod system actually came from the orcas, who are known as the samurai of the ocean. So our company becoming Samurai Success, of course, that really went well for us. So the book is really focused on the psychology side of things, and you're introduced to something called the chain of command, which is both books brought together about how you can change any behavior and start identifying about how you want to self-create yourself, as opposed to listening to everybody else's input about you and then living that life. That's a great life, but there's another extraordinary life to be able to choose from. And that's what that book talks about.
Love it, love it. And it's also going into, are you allowed to talk about what's going to happen with that?
Well, a little bit. So we're actually talking to movie producers, directors, and casting has actually started happening with that. So in May of this year, we sit down and have a big brainstorming session with the folks putting it together, and then talk about if we're going to use a vignette system, if we're going to go a major movie with it or something like this. But it's all in the idea phase right now, so I don't want to get too ahead of my skis on this one. But it's just really exciting, because we've always imagined the book when we were writing it to be able to be a feature movie. So it's being manifested.
I'm not throwing my name in the hat, but I do have some celebrity friends of mine who are amazing actors who you may want to consider. And one of them is a martial artist, which would be phenomenal. He's a great actor as well.
Yes, we're definitely going to need your help, sir. So I'll be reaching out to you.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and Dr. Andrea is, as she says, she's going from hotel to hotel. So she is mastering success And she is living the life of someone who is impacting people all over the world, if you will. And it's not necessarily the easiest thing to go from hotel to hotel, but you're doing it because of your mission. Tell us about that.
Oh, absolutely. So it's kind of funny. Prior to COVID, I did 173 events that year. And so I would try to only be gone, 3 to 5 days and then be home for a 1 or 2 or 3 so that my husband would remember that he did have a wife and that my kids remembered that they did have a mother. And then I'd be on the road again. And I took the last year off I had colorectal cancer. So it was a kick in the rear to maybe change up some things and balance things out a little differently. And I've been back in full force about a month. And since I've ended all my recovery stuff. And then this last month, the things that have been happening have just been amazing. I've stepped back into, the full of who I was, but it was funny, not even of who I was, but like who I used to be even longer ago, a really long time ago. I was super, super powerhouse. And I kind of started stepping back over time. I was working with people that instead of us empowering each other, it was more that they were being empowered and I was being faded in the back. And I wanted to step back up because I realized that I can't serve more people if I'm hidden in the scenes or I'm a best kept secret. So now that I'm out again, I'm literally on a little whirlwind trip here. So I'll literally be gone from home 42 days. Well, I guess 44 days, and I'll be home for 2 days in the middle of that 44. So although I didn't want to travel like this again, per se, there are things and trainings and things I need to fulfill or promises I made to myself that I want to get done. So I'm going to hurry up and get them done. So that way I have the rest of the year open because I have a grandchild coming. So another one. So I want the summer off.
Beautiful, beautiful. And that's what we're talking about today is, right, mastering or at least navigating the success of life and mastering your own self to live that life.
Absolutely.
David, you being that this is definitely a business show, right? We talk about business concepts, ideas, and strategies. You help people achieve certain aspects of that life. Tell us a bit about that.
So we were talking a little bit before the show started that we have a really unique approach to coaching in the world today. And instead of just working with one coach, which we did for the first 10 years, and we found great success with it. I got to tell you, I was really excited, but I knew intuitively there was more. And I was like, okay, how do we take it to the next level? How do we do this? Mm-hmm. And so we went from one coach. So when you hire Samurai Success, you hire one coach who focuses on performance or psychology, because mindset leads to skill set, which is then the tool set, right? You got to have that mindset first. Mm-hmm. And certainly, growing up in the martial arts world, right? That's where you train the most. That's the key to success. So that starts off with a performance coach. And then we have a design coach who then works on developing your business model and business processes, the structure of your business, if you will. And I will tell you, that really does help out with so much chaos in our companies today, because what employees are really looking for is a sense of security, a level of complexity. Can't be too hard, can't be too easy. And then having a clear connection between what they're doing and the benefits to themselves and to the company. And by having structure, it takes care of all three of those things all at the same time. And then we add the next element, which is the finance. Now, I went to university and studied finance with a finance degree. And I just was a natural transition to be able to bring all those things together to measure how well the performance and the design work was doing in your business model. So that unique approach really has dramatically increased our results with our clients. And we're just really excited about getting that out there, because we've been, Dr. Andrea said she, kind of stepped back. We've been in a cave for the last 27 years. You guys have never heard of us before. And the reason for that is because I'm in this industry. I've been in the seminar business. I've worked with the best people in it, kind of stuff. And there's some remarkable people. But yet in this industry, we keep promising things that we can't deliver on. I'm tired of that. I wanted something different, Sifu. I really wanted to be able to. So I knew I had to take a different approach to it. That's why at Samurai Success, we really have this pod system that really focuses on the big picture and the full things instead of just strategies, building the structure to be able to support that strategy.
Love it. Love it. One of the things that you said that really resonates is mastery, right? And the way you help people achieve what they may be looking for, maybe didn't recognize it. But we all have to remember that even a master started not being a master.
Right.
As a beginner, as someone who didn't even know business or concepts or ideas. And I love the fact that you have three coaching modalities, if you will, because they're all so separate, but without one, you're kind of lost, right? Because if you only have one, where's the other ones coming in? When did you realize that you needed, after 10 years, to really bring those together to create a family, if you will, of coaching?
Well, as in most things, you get motivated often by pain, right? So we were doing really well, but there was still this pain inside of me. And with our clients, there was like, there's something more, it's like we're all parroting the same stuff. We're all reading the same books, and we're all regurgitating. We're showing up and we're throwing up all this information and knowledge. And so the big pain point for me was I was keep using this knowledge base that everybody was talking about, but it was teaching people how to eat a fish, not teaching people how to fish. And of course, the master who brought that forth is someone really special in my life, because that's that spiritual realm that I went down that just said, how do I approach this not from an ego source, but from a soul source, and start integrating that into solutions? So as we move through the conversation today, I really want to be able to share with you is that oftentimes we use this word mastery, and I hear people use it, or master. Like a master has arrived somewhere, Sifu. You and I know better than that. So in this context, I'd like to be able to approach it this way. Mastery is a path. A master is someone on the path, but they haven't completed anything. There's like not at the end of the path. The path doesn't ever end. And that's the real concept that most people struggle with, because we think that mastery is a place of arrival. Mastery is a place of adventure.
Here's the cup that I'm holding up. I don't know if you can see that. It says
Magnificent Seven. Yes.
Yes. And you know what? These were some of the black belts that promoted together, and they kind of bonded because they trained harder together to get their black belts from me. And they named themselves the Magnificent Seven because they realized that sticking together, they could achieve more. And then they gave me this mug as a thank you, right? So it's kind of cool, and I can drink tea in it or coffee. But when you think about sometimes when for anybody to achieve something, they can't do it by themselves. They need guidance or help, or even someone in the same boat to help pedal or paddle, right? So it's important to recognize that it's not just about us. It's about not about me only, but it's about us, is what I meant.
Yeah, the universe is funny that way, because I will tell you, if there was a person on this planet that really believed he could do it all by himself, I got to raise my hand. I was that person. And I was like, I'm going to do this all. And I remember in college, gosh, there was a gentleman there. He was so brilliant. A gentleman who basically spoke 7 different languages, including Swahili. Just a brilliant man in my finance class. And I wrote this letter, this document to him about telling him how great I was as a manager, and how, I was going to, because I work harder than anybody else, and blah, 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 blah. And then about page 17 of 25 pages, I realized, holy cow, I'm going to be a manager of these people that I've just bypassed and I just blew by and bulldozed. And now I'm going to be managing them. I'm in trouble here.
Oh, for sure.
He gave me an A- on that paper. He says, because it shouldn't have taken you 17 pages to get to that concept. And he was right. But it's really about understanding is that so much of the things we've been taught in this lifetime is that, you've got to be self-reliant. You've got to be able to do this. And I agree with all those things. And you've got to be able to incorporate other people, because the universe has a special way that as soon as you think you're going to do things on your own, everything starts falling apart.
Oh, without a doubt. And I know Dr. Andrea has a lot of people that help her along the way. And she is very talented at getting people to want to help, to want to be part of what she's doing because of the principles that she brings forth, right? Would you mind sharing that, Dr. Andrea?
Yeah, thanks. So what I didn't say earlier is what I'm doing on this journey or this path. And so I own multiple businesses, and it's always been my desire to bring them all together to help serve people in multiple ways. So I own an intimacy and relationship business that I've owned for 30 years. And that's really about, your relationships with yourself and with your partners and loved ones, the people that are most intimate in your world, and how to get along with them, and how to show a sense of love and intimacy. And then I own the Red Carpet Connection, which is about relationships with your media and your fans and your followers and your stakeholders and your vendors, all of the outside people around that you would like to see elevate you to a different level, or at least look elevated in their eyes, so that they want to work with you and, sponsor you, and, all the wonderful things that come along with, like having a movie, David, where all those people want to get on board. And then about 15 years ago, I decided that I really needed another business that would help me and then help me help others. And so I have the Subconscious Connection, and I'm a neuroscientist. Well, actually, it's been over 15 years. Wow. I love how when you talk about things of the past, you realize how long things have been. So I'm a neuroscientist, and I love learning so much that it's such a desire to learn things to make life easier for my clients. So I have several elite celebrity, athlete, high CEO clients, and I help them so that they can be seen, heard, and understood at the highest level by the right people at the right time. And in doing that, it's allowed me to not only just work with them, but now we're looking at other ways to be one to many. So I've created some communities for people to be in under another business called the Wealth and Legacy Alliance. And with all of these things, we talk about bringing people on board. I'm here traveling, and I flew my operations manager out to be with me because he had never been to Disneyland. So we're out here traveling for 24 or 5 days here, and then going to Vegas and San Diego. And I brought him along so that we can do other business after hours, but so that I can give back to him, because how cool, he's this young genius who's never been to Disneyland. I get to take him. I'm so excited. And I have a business partner for the Wealth and Legacy Alliance, and it's these people that are the supporters that want to be part of my world. Okay, that it just makes things different, and it's just made it so joyous and so fun. And I know I've really come around. The people that I bring in now are extremely high vetted. I'm extremely picky on who they are and how they show up and their integrity. And so I know that we can deliver unbelievable, exciting things for our clients. So thank you for letting me share that. I've been excited about everything that we're creating, and it's just getting bigger and better every day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. One of the things that for somebody, and you talked about his creativity is that so many of us, we're so locked into us creating that we don't go out and look at the other creators that have come before us. Going to museums, going to take a look at a cathedral. Maybe we're not that religious, but look at the beauty of the architecture that has come. And that is an inspiration for our creativity. And if we stay in a cocoon or in a cave or in our bedroom or in our closet, wherever we are, we don't experience what happens in our brain when we can see the creativity of others. And I think that's an important aspect, and good on you that you said you need to see this place that's magical, because that's a place that's full of creativity. Just the architecture to build such a park just the thought process that goes into it. The people that you meet along the way, they impact all our decisions. I love what you talked about, David, that sometimes you have to almost put a curtain on that so that you look at it, but then you go, wait a minute, I don't want that to influence me in what the creativity that I'm bringing. And that's an important aspect too, because you want it to be all about your creativity. And no matter how much we try to shield all of that other things, our past experiences are going to bring forth what we bring forth. So it's so incredible, but creativity is about engaging with others, I think, and even our past.
Absolutely. This co-creation of creativity is such an important part of this aspect. And we forget that, our egos like to say, oh, it's mine. So along my path, I definitely found about how to get past my own ego in that conversation. Because what you said was so beautiful that, I needed to be in the cave for a while so that I could have some contrast about what was going on in the world and what I wanted to bring to it. That's creativity, right? And inspiration is the fuel for being able to then move that and manifest that. So love what you just said about those aspects. Sitting back and realizing that if I had to be responsible for the creativity, that was a lot of pressure on me. And when I did something, Sifu, I wanted the fame for it, right? I was like, oh, I did this. And I found that I was very disruptive in my own life. And this chatter, oh my gosh, Doc, neuroscience, please help me with this. Because I was like, the noise, it's just one of those. And that's the path that I really got fascinated with. It's like, how do I get the hell out of my own way so that I can really be in service to others? Because if I don't do that, then all I'm doing is waiting for my time to talk. Okay, Dr. Andrews, she's waiting, and I don't care what she said. I'm just jumping in with how is that being in service of others? And I will tell you, I experienced that with people all day long. And I was like, what's causing us to do that? Why are we in our own way? When we know this cooperative, collaborative, creative process is real, why do we keep sabotaging it? It's a natural process. So that was the big journey that was like, okay, how do I learn to be able to heal what's going on in here so that when I show up, I can truly be in service to another? And that came to this point where, what if I didn't have to create everything? What if everything was already created? Now, that was a really weird moment. And in quantum mechanics, they actually call this the realm of pure potentiality, where all things already exist. And they exist in the form of pure potentiality. They don't exist in a $100,000 bank account and a red Corvette, and they don't exist in that manifestation point. It's in the world of pure potentiality that I can influence about bringing it forth. And so all of a sudden, Sifu, then the creativity of how I needed to do things, how I needed to create, the pressure was off me because I didn't have to create those things. I just had to figure out how to pull those things into existence, manifestation. And that's when the real work began.
Yeah, love it, love it. Dr. Andrea, are you able to respond to David on that?
Yes and no. So, David, would you? Yes, and I would love David to clarify with what you've been sharing. What would be the magic outcome of all of that? Like, what haven't you shared already that is even the bigger the dream beyond the dream that you've been sharing for people?
So bringing it back down to how do I create this mastery in my own life kind of stuff, right? And then the vision beyond that is that from a soul perspective, what we're really doing here to answer the question, why am I here as a soul, is one of the journeys that I've been on. And I've spoken with so many different masters, but one of those people finally made it so beautifully insightful and inspiring that I couldn't let go of it. It was just too magnificent. And the answer to it was, you're here to have an experience of that which you say you are. Mm-hmm. Now, when you take a look at even the celebrities on this show right here, you guys have self-created your own identity. And that's the difference between most people who are struggling with this path of mastery and the folks that are on the path of mastery. They have understood that your journey here isn't discover who you are, find who you are. It's to create who you are. And when you get into that mindset, it goes first of all, that's a lot of responsibility. I'm scared to death of what you just said, David. And I certainly was, because that's a lot of power. And that's where you start seeing the celebrity and fame and success is from people who know who they are, and they're doing the things that support that identity. So that's a powerful moment for me to recognize that. So I think that would probably be this idea about where it started and where we're going.
Yeah. Thank you for elaborating.
By the way.
It is interesting because I've often described it as, and those of you listening, if you get it, you'll get it. I've always said the people who get it. And you'll say, oh, I get that. So you go through life, you think you have an idea of what things want to be, and you grow and you merge and you change. And now you've reached that level and you think, oh, now I get it. I really wanted this, and this. And then you strive for this, and this knowing, this understanding of yourself and others and information. And then you reach that level and you are there. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh, now I get it. And then there's another level of getting it. And for me, when I finally am at this point where I not only get it, but I help other people get it. In fact, our one of our communities is called the Go Get It Club because it's about getting it. We want people to get it mentally, physically, not only their dreams, but their self. And so, David, you mentioning that about understanding who they are. Yes, you're right. I have seen that too, over and over again. My clients who are so confident in that they're going to be okay, regardless of whatever happens, have no choice but to excel beyond ridiculous manifestation. It just seems to come and attract and everything falls in place.
Beautifully said. Where were you 25 years ago? You just answered that so magnificently because you're absolutely right. The go get it concept, excuse me. Let's imagine that we're climbing Mount Everest, right? And of course, as soon as you get to the camp, the very first day, you go right to the top, right?
Well, absolutely, I've done that. Yes. Come on, let's go.
Come on, just get my backpack on and let's go. No oxygen necessary, no clothes, no food. Let's just go. Yeah. Of course, that's not how it works. Yet,
in my bathing suit too.
You could probably do it. I could sell some tickets for that for sure. But the interesting thing is that we have this illusion that we are just going to walk up to the base camp and we're just going to rise to the top because we all have these fantasies of things. Yet when we're getting it, from my perspective, what we're doing is we're moving from that first stage to the first base camp. And that's what you got to get there at that first base camp. You got to acclimate, right? To feeling this way, experiencing things, knowing things this way, and then you can move on to the next base camp. But from my understanding, there's no end to the base camps. There is no final frontier where you're going to get everything this lifetime. The universe is too expansive for that. And when I finally settled down my ego and my brain going, I got to get it all. I got to know it all. I was like, no, you don't, David. You can do it from a different source. And when I could get myself out of the way, I could start downloading information from the source in any situation. I didn't have to prep as much. I didn't have to get all this knowledge and stuff. I was so available for the information that was flowing through me. It was easy to give it away.
Nice.
This concept of giving things away, I've been re-looking at that because my whole life I've been a nurturer. I want to give to people. I want to serve people. I love helping people. And it's been very interesting because one of the things I did realize is even though I want to give, my whole life I've heard people say, if you only give and people don't have any skin in the game, they don't receive as well. And time again, I see that. So there has to be some exchange of energy, and it doesn't always have to be money, but there has to be. I'm just getting to it more and more. And I never respected the exchange or the money before now. So that was another level of getting it for me, is I realized I was giving it away to people who maybe couldn't receive it at the highest level of value to get the value out of it for themselves. And when I look back at myself too, there are times that people gave to me, and I'm glad that I either had the fortitude that I wanted to give back in exchange, so that there was something that I was giving in return, even if it wasn't like, something in kind, if it wasn't money, and at least have gratitude in it. And that made a difference in the shift from things in my life where I just received and didn't give back or didn't show gratitude for, that those things seem to fall to the side. And I wondered if you guys would express that more. What have you noticed with the change of giving away? And maybe you've had a different experience than me.
If we take and take and take, we may not realize that we have now been labeled takers. And what winds up happening in the world, there's takers, receivers, right? Givers, and on the fence. They when it's convenient, they'll take, but they won't give when it's inconvenient. And so it winds up happening that if you learn to give, even if it costs you, it will come back in a way that you never expected it. But when, for example, let's say, David, I'm going to ask you, can you do me a favor?
Sure.
And David says, absolutely. What are you going to do for me in exchange? David was willing to help me, but he kind of put his hand out, right? I'll help you for an exchange. So money is an exchange, or another favor is an exchange. But when we can give without even thinking about what we're going to get out of it, then I think it fills us wholeheartedly. And guess what? I've given so much to so many takers, it's ridiculous. But it doesn't change who I am and who I will continue to be. I will always be a giver. And if you're a taker, God be with you. Because one day, nobody's going to be there to give you anything. And that's when you really need it the most. So learn to be a receiver, but also a giver, not just a taker. That's my thought.
What's been your experience, David?
Yeah, I got to tell you, I've been both of those people this lifetime. I have definitely noticed that I've been a taker when I was much younger, kind of stuff, because that's what I thought worked. I was around people who seemed to be taking a lot. So that's but there was always something inside me going, there's something more, David. There's something more, right? It was just pushing me, kind of thing. And thank God that I listened to that voice eventually, because I probably would not be here with you with the book and stuff. So the idea is that I can really connect with takers. I can really connect with givers. But I will tell you from my own personal experience, you can't give something away you don't possess. So if you don't work on you, then being this giver or being this taker, you can forget that thing, because that's never going to work out in your favor. But I've definitely found that if I understand who I am, and once I understand, Sifu, you said it so beautifully, that doesn't change me. Listen, a lot of us are walking around this planet being chameleons. We're changing to fit our environment constantly. And that's really tough. And as a matter of fact, I didn't realize when I was doing that people didn't really respect it. I thought I was getting along. I thought I was being amenable. I thought I was, building friendships. People didn't trust me because they kept watching me change. Well, who are you, Dave? I can't trust that. And I was like, well, holy crap, that doesn't work. So what does work? Well, it's going to sound really selfish, because that's the way it was presented to me, is that if you work on you, that's being selfish. I will tell you, that's not been my experience. And the reason
that's the best selfish you can be.
But that's the shift that has to take place on this planet from my perspective, because we've been told that self-love and doing all these other things for yourself is so selfish that how dare you, and the shame that goes along with it is like, listen, if I've got to work on me so that I can be in service to you. And we've got to change that mentality that says it's okay for me to like me, because if I don't like me, guess what? I don't like you. I can't give something away I don't possess. So that's been my experience of it is, yes, you're going to run into takers and to givers. And by the way, thank goodness, because without them, I couldn't experience myself as the opposite of them. Right?
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, it's been a fun thing. What I have realized is now that I vet who I'm giving to, and that it's made it better, that the people that I'm giving to are people that will receive and probably do something amazing with it, not only for themselves but for other. They have that pay it forward attitude, and I'm not holding on to it so much too. So excuse me. So when I do give something away, I accept the fact that I did give it, and whatever happens with it, should it be nothing, then that's okay. That's how it was supposed to be. And so I don't see it as a loss or a demand or a hold something over that person's head that they have some, cosmic agreement to give back or anything. So I don't necessarily have that. And it's just been really interesting to see how that shift in me has shifted the others who are attracted to be around me. And I've noticed that the more that the more that I'm okay with me, and if somebody says no, or somebody's not interested, or, okay. I just like, awesome. The world is conspiring to do something even better for me. And I'm so excited to see what it is. It's been really fun to have this ridiculously positive attitude. Not everybody appreciates it, but I decided a long time ago here, well, I guess not that long, but a couple of years, that the people who are put off by my positivity probably need my positivity the most. So I'm going to love them even more.
Good for you. Good for you.
Beautifully said. I love the concept that even though you give it and some people may not necessarily receive it, if I'm going around and I have like all these pizza pies and everybody's like, oh, I want pizza. And then somebody goes, wait a minute, I'm lactose intolerant. I can't eat pizza. Take the cheese off of it. Now I got to take the cheese off. So sometimes they only want a little bit of what you have to offer. And then there's going to be other people who go, I don't want any of it because it's not healthy for me, or it's not with my vision for my future. And then there's going to be people who are going to say, hey, can I have 2 or 3 slices? So it's all about who wants what you have. And I love the way you put it, because it's not, we can't please everybody, right? The problem that we have as a society is that we want to please everybody. So we're people pleasers. And then when somebody turns us down, we get offended without realizing that maybe we're not their cup of tea. I love that. Thank you.
I like it. Oh, please, David, share.
I do get this question often that says, well, Dave, you're the spiritually guided CEO kind of stuff. And do you believe that we should take money out of the equation? No. So let me be as clear as I can with this. When you really take money and you understand that it's just energy, it's just frequency. And Dr. Andrea, I love the way you created another meaning behind that in your lifetime that just says, this is just an exchange of energy. And that's so beautifully said, because once I got my brain wrapped out, I realized money is just fuel to be able to do something else with it. And with my intentions, I can take that money and turn it into something even more powerful. Or I can take that money and turn it into something more evil, right? I can do either one of those things based upon who I say I am. So money is just an exchange of that. And I will tell you that in this physical plane, my soul comes into this physical plane, and it has to respect how this physical plane works. And that's dominated by the ego. And the ego says, hey, I want this exchange. So I started to understand and then honor about how people buy things. So people that I meet in my lifetime, some people want that exchange. Some people need that exchange. Some people want to move away from that exchange. And I want to be able to honor all 3 of those things. But we present a product and a service, and this is our price point with that. And then it's up to you to choose if that makes sense to you. And I'll respect it either way. And the only reason that works is because I remember who I am. If I forget who I am in that process, I'm toast. I'm getting upset. I'm going to get, mad. I spent all this time with you. Where's my exchange? Where's all this? And that's just my ego talking.
Mm-hmm.
When I remember who I really am, none of that stuff gets in my way.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
That's making
Remember
me think of
who you
songs.
are. You're gonna sing for us.
It's reminiscent. There's something who I am. It's like, or something is in the middle of a song, but that is not it. But I'm trying to look up what song is.
Dr. Andrea, you know what I think? I think you should start writing your own songs.
Yes.
Thank you. I've been writing songs for a very long time, and I don't know how to write the music. So I've met several people over the years. I've been encouraging them to help me figure out how to write the sound, the music, music to the songs and lyrics that I've created. I actually wrote a musical, and I have some songs. I just need someone to put the notes on the paper for it. And then, David, we should talk to. I know people who write music for movies. So there might be some opportunities for you. And so there are people who are wanting to be out there and to be seen and heard. It might be a good collaboration. You never know. So because I represent people from all worlds, so you never know what's going to be available in the Rolodex there. But thank you, Sifu. I just said yesterday that I think I've always wanted to have my own album. I cut a song once years ago, like 15 years ago, but I never did anything with it. So maybe it's in my future.
Yeah, maybe you got to pull that song out and put it in an album.
We'll see.
It's fascinating. I live here in Denver, Colorado, and a man that I grew up and was inspired was, because I grew up in the Florida Keys, but a gentleman named John Denver. Are you familiar with that gentleman?
I do know John Denver.
Huge star, right? I mean, he was like our Elvis, right? Or Taylor Swift, I guess, right? But John was in so many movies. He was on Broadway. He was on talent shows, and he was on all these talk shows. And I'll never forget, I think it was 11 or 12 years old. I was watching, I'm starting to date myself. I was watching the Dick Cavett show, which is like Johnny Carson, kind of stuff, during the daytime. And John was on there, and he said something really interesting that I never forgot. And it's really led me on this path. And one of his, great songs, of course, was Country Roads. And, Dick Cavett was saying, hey, how did you write that? And John just paused for a moment, and he looked back and he says, this thing just came to me. And it just started this song and this jingle and everything. And at 11 years old, I didn't understand what he said. Hell, I'm still, struggling with it today. But what did he mean that it just came to him? Like, was he downloading something from a source where the song already existed? And that's what we just talked about earlier, is this world of pure potentiality. Dr. Andrea, that entire album that you could write already exists, right? And then you being able to pull that information in. Oh, I would love to hear that album.
Yeah, likewise, definitely.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, because, when I heard you say for the downloads things, when I work with clients, sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I came up with the idea or someone else is giving me the gift of sharing the idea from them. But as my one mentor and coach said, if anything happens that's a miracle within a mile of you, go ahead and claim it.
I love that.
Perfect.
Well, we're getting to that point where we're wrapping up the show. So, David, we'd love to give you 30 to 45 seconds. Tell us, we're going to put your website across the bottom, how people can reach you and what they can expect when they do.
So we've been working really hard. We've put in 27 years, we had done no social media, no videos or this other concepts and stuff. So since February of last year, we've really embarked on a library of information. So if you like what we're talking about today, it's all available thing. I think we have over 120 videos already put together, and 15 or 16 different media events, that kind of stuff. So we've been really busy putting that collection together for you. And I think you'll find there's some really remarkable things that really resonate. Dr. Andrea said, if it matches up with you, you feel it kind of stuff, it resonates with you. There's some great content there at samuraisuccess.com. And that's definitely the best place to reach that. And then, of course, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and what are the other platforms? I forget them all now. But we're available there, but samuraisuccess.com is our best place to reach us.
Love that. Love that.
Well,
Thank
I
you.
love
And
that.
love having you here as well. Dr. Andrea, if you don't mind telling us about your red carpet connection.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to what you do with all of that, David. I've had the pleasure of being on multiple red carpets, so having the red carpet connection just seemed to attract more red carpets in my life. And one of those is being able, I went and covered some red carpets for some major awards in martial arts and to meet some really great historical leaders and people. And it's just been ridiculously fun to be with them and see their world. And so what I do is I end up working with people who really want to be seen, heard, and understood by more people that actually are the right people in the right way. And we do that through helping them have the best mental mastery that they can have, as well as publicity and public relations, and using neurocopy. Neurocopy is a way of helping trigger cognitive information and messages so that people understand who you are and what you're doing in a different way, so that they're excited and want to work with you so you can live a legacy. So thanks so much for letting me share.
Very nice.
Absolutely. And I'm Sifu Rafael. What can I say? I love helping. God said to me, you need to help. I said, okay, I'm listening. So anytime that if you need help, one of the things that I do is I have a communication school. So we help people understand their communication can go up a higher level. And are you speaking at the highest level possible? If not, let's have a conversation. Reach out anytime. And what can I say? I am so blessed to have both of you share some time with me today. Thank you. Dr. Andrea, you know, I love you as a co-host, but I love you as a person most.
Oh, thank you.
David, I got to tell you, my friend, you're doing exceptional things in this world, and please don't stop.
Awesome, sir. And by the way, next time we talk, I'm sure that's going to be soon. You got to move from page 1 to page 2, right? So there's your homework assignment.
I look forward to hearing it.
I love a challenge.
Love it. Well,
You mean
thanks.
just flip the page, right?
just flip it.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for being on, David, and I'm looking forward to hearing the success. And if you do have a movie scene where they need a martial artist who also is a dancer, I recommend Sifu Rafael have a cameo. This man on the dance floor puts martial arts and dancing together and makes magic. So
awesome. As long as he's not on the dance floor around me, I'm fine with it.
She meant a comedy scene where I'm dancing.
Get your prettiest girl and put him with her. So he'll dance the daylights out of her.
Well, you guys have a blessed day. Do me a favor. Hang on for a second, everybody. Do me a favor. Share this show with everyone. What an incredible conversation we had. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Everybody, have an amazing, amazing rest of your day.